Hello all. This one is for everybody because everybody needs this lesson, and it's something that I suffered too. So this is the pot calling the kettle black. But now that I have hindsight, I'm going to help you out a little bit here and give you the realization that I had. I shall tell you a story. You'll see why. The single biggest accomplishment in my life was graduating from college. Not that I went to school, attended class, and got good grades. It's everything that went into it because I had no support. None. I wasn't that great of a student. I had, I think, $1,000 scholarship. My parents were piss poor. I got, maybe I get like $20 on Christmas or whatever. But no effective financial support. And everything. Once I moved out at the age of 18, started college, I have been supporting myself the entire time. Now, obviously, the older you get, you tend to make more money. So the hardest part of life is when you're younger and starting to support yourself. And it really sucks when you got to pay for college on top of it. Now, I did this by doing something I don't think anyone else has done, and that's why I'm very proud of this. And that is I worked full-time and went to school full-time. I actually went to school more than full-time because I graduated 6 months early. But I graduated without debt. I graduated with enough money to buy myself a little dinky convertible that I always wanted. And I also had a near 4.0 GPA. I had 2 A minuses. Right? Nobody I know came close to doing that. I know some coworkers, they definitely worked their asses off, but they weren't 4.0 students, and they were taking 5, 6, 7, 8 years to graduate. Now, to do this, my body took an immeasurable toll, and my mind. I was malnourished. I dropped down to 118 pounds. It's not bullshit. My job was physically demanding. I was working for the U of M police. We bike patrol, campus patrol, and we're on foot. And you're by yourself. It gets cold. It wears down on you. Sleep deprived. I remember at first I would get 2 hours of sleep. Then I'd have to go work a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. shift. Get another 2 hours sleep. And then that was the most murderous semester. Because of my classes and schedule, but I finally streamlined it the next semester, and just got by on 4 hours sleep then, and then I ended up getting by on 6 hours of sleep, if we were lucky, towards the end. And then during breaks, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we had to work as much as possible because you could get overtime, and then if your overtime landed on a holiday, you get 2 1/4. So we got time and a half, and then you got time and a half on that, 2 1/4. And there are times we'd pay an entire semester of college in one Christmas break. Now, this was not fun. This was not enjoyable, and it was probably the second darkest point in my life. It's cold. It's miserable. Yeah, you do have friends, but for the most part, you're patrolling by yourself. The lack of food, the fear of money, takes a toll on you. And then also having to study all the time eliminated any real effective social life that I could have possibly had. I attended maybe a handful of parties, and most of those parties were in my last semester, which was only a part-time because that's all the credits I needed. Now, all that pain and agony set aside, it was feasible. It was doable. And what I take from this horrible experience, among many other things, is that I was exactly where the rubber hit the road in terms of what it takes to support oneself, in terms of what it takes to take on, not just support yourself, but then take on a rather large undertaking such as college. In other words, there was no assistance, there was no subsidy, and there was therefore no confusion or veiling or obfuscation, if that's the right word. In other words, I saw very clearly what it took to make it in the real world. All right? Hey, it's up to you. You got to do it. 100% you. No help from mommy and daddy, no government checks, no subsidy, no nothing. All you. And here's how you got to budget, and you got to eat bagels, and you got to eat ramen, and until things get better, it's all you. All right? You're there. Your back's against the wall, and you are facing life all by yourself with nobody there to help you. It's all you. And going through that experience, not only makes it so I don't give two flying shits about these whiners in college today that, But it is, and not to sound arrogant, I very much appreciate that experience because I am one of the very few people I personally know that knows exactly what it takes to succeed in life or just make it, just to survive. Now, what does this have to do with everybody else? Okay. The less I want to convey to everybody, but in particular people who are lied to, who are being manipulated and taken advantage of by politicians, claiming your success in life or your lack of success in life or your inability to get there or you're not where you thought you'd want to be, has nothing to do with what the left is dividing us across. The traits such as gender, sex, ethnicity, religion, whatever. They tell you, oh, it's because of discrimination. It's because of sexism. It's because of homophobia, whatever. I'm here to tell you that your challenges that you face in life, the challenges that you are facing right now, and you think, oh, it's because of discrimination, whatever you've been told to think it is, it's not. The real world really is that tough. It is, I remember after my freshman year saying to myself, I was on patrol. I remember I was by Fraser Hall at the U of M campus. And it wasn't the end. It was still during winter. I think it was March. Still cold, still snow. And I remember saying to myself, I've already forgotten most of what just happened with this hellish life. Like patrolling, working full-time, working school, just this days, not getting enough sleep. It was so bad, I remember my 8th grade year, middle school, seemed more recent in my memory than the 4 months, when I first started college. Like 8th grade seemed more recent in my memory than something that was no more than 6 months ago. All right. Anyway, my larger point that I'm trying to make is it's not discrimination. It's not bigotry. It's not sexism. It's not racism. Right? Life just is that difficult. It really is. Now, you have to have some intellectual temerity and honesty here, because if you can, you're going to improve your life a lot more if you hear me out. Now, is there sexism and racism? Yeah, of course there is, but I would say it affects no more than 5%, explains no more than 5% of why things seem so difficult, why life seems so challenging, why you're not getting ahead where you are, why you might be, you just graduated, and I know there's millions of you out there just graduated from college and you can't find a job. Well, really, you're going to blame Bush? Right? Not to say you shouldn't blame yourself. You did everything that you were told to do. You did go to college, you did that. But I'm just saying the real world is that difficult. Now, what you have to realize, and this is where we're going to take lemons and make lemonade out of it, is the freedom this grants you when you realize it's not an ism or a conspiracy of assholes and evil people holding you down. There isn't a different way where you have socialists basically destroying the economy and there's no jobs there. But that what I'm saying is a conscious effort to discriminate against you because you're young, you're Hispanic, you're female, whatever. Okay? If you can say, hey, it's not that, and then correctly diagnose and say, hey, it really is that tough in the real world, you do one very important thing, and that is you correctly diagnose the problem. Because if you blame it, it's way too easy. It is the intellectual winkling's way out to blame it on an ism. I can't get a job because color of my skin. I ain't making enough because of my gender. All right? It's way too easy to take that. But when you do that, there's a cost, and that is it's out of your control. Well, if it's out of your control, why try? And then you play right into the Democrats and the socialist hands, and that is, well, we need the government to come in and take money from other people who are oppressing us, or just rich people because they benefited unfairly. And you've heard all the propagandist points before, and make things more fair. All right? Well, you can do that, and then you can live the life of a beggar, which is what that is. You can also live the life of a parasite, which is what that is, no matter what they tell you rationally, or you could correctly diagnose the problem and say, holy shit, life is that hard. Now, when you say and accept the fact that, holy shit, life is that hard, you know what's great about that? It is the ultimate freedom say, life is that hard, but there's no active conspiracy against me. Life is that hard, but I'm not prohibited from trying harder. In other words, if you can make it in life, the sky's the limit. All right? Now, we're not all going to become billionaires and stuff like that, but one of the best things that I ever remembered, even though I made, I want to say $12,000 my first year, and I was able to live off of that. I remember I bought my first TV. I went to Montgomery Wards. I took the bus from the U of M campus down to Montgomery Wards when they were downtown. They're in the city center. They're long gone now. And I bought my very own first color TV. And the amount of freedom, like we were poor. My parents weren't oppressive. There was no fucking money. There was no toys. We had some toys, but and it was a good experience because you also had to learn, and that's what drove me to want to go into finance and economics, because I was like, I got to figure out how not to be poor. This fucking shit has got to end. But even though I only made $12,000, on that $12,000, I admit there's inflation. I was able to pay for food, clothing, shelter. I bought a car, and I was able to pay for tuition. And then, of course, my TV. And I was so proud. I didn't have my car. Obviously, at the point I was taking the bus to get the TV. But I brought that TV back, and I said, holy shit, I don't need my parents at all. I don't need help. I can do this all on my own. It's all up to me. It's within my power and control. And once you get that, once you realize what it takes to survive in life, one, it's a baptism by fire, especially for a 17, 18-year-old kid who's basically had their lives taken care of them. To be just dropped into the cauldron like that is shocking, right? And it will shock you to your nervous system core. But once you adapt to it, once you realize this, once you accept that reality, and you work, and all of a sudden you make it, you start to realize it doesn't take a lot. You can get by on very cheap. But more importantly, it's that, oh my God, I can do it. And there ain't nobody going to stop me. Now, does that mean once you have this epiphany and you make it and you say it is not discrimination, it is not an ism, it is not a conspiracy, does that mean you're going to then go become the next Bill Gates? Well, no, not really, because there are other factors in life that hold you back, or not hold you back, but hurdles. They are just natural in any other economy. For example, not to harp on this, but you go and you get a degree that's easy. Well, millions of teaching. Teaching is a perfect example of this. I write about it in the book Worthless. Everyone complains about how teachers only make $30,000 a year, but Joe Mauer and professional athletes make $30 million or so. And well, no, wait a minute. Millions, everyone can be a teacher. It's not that hard. Teaching is not difficult. Swinging a stick at a sphere and making that sphere go 400 feet out of a baseball park, that is a much rarer skill. And it's a simple issue of supply and demand. So you're going to run into hurdles where, law of supply and demand, law of economics, what you'd like to do probably isn't going to pay a lot because everybody else would like to do it, and the supply of labor is it. Another example, I'll use this. There are industries that are very corrupt. A lot of you are going to go into nonprofits. A lot of you are going to go into politics. I went into finance or banking. All those industries are completely corrupt. So it doesn't matter. You could be very wise that, I'm going to go and do public administration, or I'm going to become an accountant or whatever. If you end up in one of those industries, you're going to, you think, well, okay, I got a job as that industry is corrupt too. Those industries are very corrupt. So it's basically trial and error and, just getting wisdom, or perhaps listening to elders like me, or, listening to people older than me who've gone down that path, have the vantage point and the 20/20 hindsight to say, hey, no, don't do this, go do that. That's why I'm always recommending STEM engineering, staying out of banking, staying out of government. Nonprofits they're corrupt, but they're also petty. I guess it's the pettiness that and the arrogance and the bravado. So ultimately what you realize is that there is no guarantees in life. But the shot, at least, the knowledge that it's within your control, that you can go and at least give it a shot, and that it's not your skin color, and it's not your gender, and it's not your religion, and it's not your sexual preference that's holding you back, that it is in your control, that people don't own you. Once you realize that, I can't guarantee anything. Nothing can be guaranteed. But I almost want to guarantee you will do better. I'd say with a 99.9% guarantee, unless you don't get struck down by cancer or something. It is almost 100% guarantee you're going to do better than the other group, the control group or the peer group, where they're blaming it and they're hopeless. Where it's like, well, why should I? And then they feel sorry, there's self-pity, and they wait for a government handout. They wait for a third-party agent, primarily the Democrats and the Socialists, to make things fair. And I've mentioned this before, I don't know, that's got to suck. That life has got to suck, where you genuinely think you're that helpless, and then it makes your body go into a stasis. You stop functioning. You just sit and watch TV. Why? I mean, and that's that's what I do. If I genuinely thought there was no hope, if I genuinely thought that there was no shot whatsoever, yeah, I give up. Because that's what a sane person does. But I'm here to tell you, you're being lied to. And not only being lied to, so certain politicians can get into office and then bribe you with other people's money. They're ruining your life. They're making you throw your life away because you think there's no reason to try. And you're missing out. You are fucking missing out. All right, now I'm a miserable example of someone who made it, didn't believe in evil conspiracies holding me down. Because I ain't no freaking billionaire. I don't think I'm a 10,000-aire. I'm certainly not a 100,000-aire. I think I have less than 10,000 in liquid assets, but neither here nor there. There are other people who much better examples than me. But yeah, even I'm happy. Even now I'm doing better. Oh, it's great being and I'm way ahead of all my peers who thought it was hopeless, that they were under the control, and then there's the Illuminati and It's much more fun this way. Yes, hard, painful work. A torturous existence in life, and hopefully you have some parental support, or maybe even got some government support to make things a little bit easier in your late teens and early 20s. But by God, do not end your life and handicap yourself thinking it's out of your control because of a trait you were born with. All right, that's it. If you want to know why, well, there's many reasons I loathe the Democrats and the Socialists. That's one of them. How they just ruin people's lives so these prissy fucks can go get elected and essentially play Robin Hood, but of an evil variety. Oh no, you're God, no, you can't succeed. Nope, can't succeed in life. Nope, you're just fucked. But you know what? Folks, to quote DT and the Man, folks, I'm gonna make things a little fairer. I'm gonna go get those people's money. I'm gonna give it to you. So, anyway, life is that tough. All right, but punch through it, beat the shit out of it, own it, and you're going to have a better life than people who just and sit there and just throw their lives away. That's all we got. Toodles.